Now the floor is given to Colonel Dmytro Hutsulyak, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine spokesperson. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, to your attention is the information about yesterday's event and today's morning event in the ADO zone during the last 24 hours in the Donetsk and Lugansk oblasts. During the last 24 hours, the militants of Russian occupation forces continued to violate the Minsk agreements, including, once again, they disrupted disengagement of forces and hardware of the sides in the region of Stanitsa Luganska. In the Lugansk sector, during the last 24 hours, 3 precision shellings of our defense positions were recorded. Starting at 7 in the morning yesterday, the militants of Russian occupation administrations delivered shellings of Ukrainian forces in the region of Stanitsa Luganska. The occupants used mounted anti-tank grenade launchers. The shellings were delivered as before from the side of Prince Igor Hill. Ukrainian side of JCCC informed the SMM OACE about it. ADO headquarters made public a claim that states that the disengagement of the sides in Stanitsa Luganska was planned for the 25th of April, but the new violations of ceasefire by militants of occupation administrations of Russian Federation in this region once again prevented implementation of the requirements of the framework decision of the trilateral contact group concerning disengagement of forces and hardware at the line of contact between the sides in this area. Once again, we state that the units of ATO forces are ready for the start of withdrawal of forces and hardware on the condition that the leaders of the occupation administrations of Russian Federation will strictly adhere to the implementation of provisions of the Minsk agreements. Also, there were provocative shellings in the region of Stanitsa Luganska with the use of grenade launchers in the region of Travneva and with the use of grenade launchers and small arms in the region of Artyoma village. In the Donetsk sector, during the last 24 hours, 32 enemy shellings of our positions were recorded. Also, with mortars of 120 mm of caliber, the enemy delivered fire in the region of Pisky and Opotne, and on the whole launching 10 mines. 82 mm mortars were used by the enemy against our positions near Avdiivka and 3 times against defenders of Pisky. Provocative shellings delivered by the militants of Russian occupation administrations of Russian Federation that repeatedly used grenade launchers of different types, large caliber machine guns and small arms, were recorded in the region of Gnutove, Vodyane, Avdiivka, Marienka, Kamienka, Lebedinska, Pisky, Pishevik, and also near Butivka mine. On the whole, during the last 24 hours, 35 shellings of our defense positions delivered by militants of Russian occupation forces were recorded. At that, the militants launched at our positions about 30 mines from mortars of 120 and 82 mm of caliber. In order to preserve lives and health of military personnel, our servicemen 19 times returned adequate fire using service infantry weapon that is not prohibited by the Minsk agreements. In the result of enemy shelling, unfortunately, 2 Ukrainian servicemen were injured. They were brought to military hospitals. Health condition of one of them is heavy, and one more defender, his health condition is satisfactory. These are sad results of the last 24 hours, the 19th of April. But we should state that this night the situation at the front line significantly escalated. Starting midnight to the 20th of April, as of 9 a.m., our servicemen recorded 8 precision shellings delivered by militants of occupation administrations of Russian Federation. They consciously disregarded the Minsk agreements using prohibited types of weaponry. In the Lugansk sector, the enemy delivered at about 2 a.m. for about 1 hour, delivered 9 shots with the use of 122mm artillery on defenders of Popasna. Moreover, starting 2:30 a.m. for half hour, an enemy delivered shelling with the use of weaponry of IFV on the servicemen in the region of Krymska and in the Donetsk sector from midnight to date, the 20th of April, as of 9 a.m. The militants of Russian occupation forces delivered 6 precision shelling starting 5:50 a.m. for 2 hours from side of occupied Sakhanka village. The enemy used against Ukrainian forces near Lebedinska grad systems. Russian occupation forces launched 40 missiles and delivered shellings on Lebedinska, and the enemy launched 6 mines with the use of 82mm mortars and delivered fire with the use of grenade launchers and large caliber machine guns. And also they delivered fire with the use of 122mm artillery against defenders of Shirokina and made 20 shots and used mortars of 120mm of caliber at the defenders of Novotroitska and after 7 a.m. against defenders of Odyane. On the whole, starting midnight today, on the 20th of April, as of 9 a.m., the militants of Occupation Administration of Russian Federation have delivered 8 precision shellings. They launched 40 missiles using multiple launch rocket system BM-21 Grads and delivered about 30 shots using 122mm artillery and launched about 30 mines using 120 and 82mm mortars. Unfortunately, in the result of the enemy fire today on the 20th of April, 1 Ukrainian serviceman was killed. He was born in 1981. Our hearts go out to the relatives and close ones and combat comrades of our hero. Eternal glory to him. And 1 defender also was injured. He was brought to military mobile hospital where he was provided with all necessary medical help. His health condition is heavy. AGO headquarters states that such actions of the enemy show complete interest of the leaders of occupation administrations of Russian Federation in further escalation of the conflict and overt unwillingness to adhere to the Minsk agreements, including on the withdrawal of heavy equipment and weapons from the line of confrontation to the designated storage sites. Thank you. Do you have questions or comments? If there are no, thank you.